Hi everybody, Kimberly here. I wanted to talk to you about the time I wanted to become a soldier or a Marine. Let me just get started. There was a time when I wanted to become a soldier. When I wanted to actually get in the Marine Corps, I actually wanted to drive tanks. And growing up here where I live, like, if you're like, if you're biologically male, you're expected to be biologically male, and you're expected to be a male, and that just didn't work for me a lot of the times. Like, to be perfectly honest, I found guys, like, the way they talked, to be a little crude to me and foul mouthed, and I just didn't identify that way. And I grew up super masculine. Like, I was expected to be super masculine. I grew up watching movies like Patton and other like movies like Rambo and all that, and watching like Arnold Schwarzenegger stuff. Like, yeah, I just grew up like that, and I used to lift a lot of weights and everything, and like I used to do whatever I could to be super masculine and to be a soldier. This is what I wanted. And then like when puberty hit, and like when I was going through puberty, like the dysphoria started really heavy, and I didn't know what was going on with me because like I just didn't feel right in my body. Like I didn't like I would like wish every day that my body would be different. That like I basically wanted to be a girl, and I still continued to do the super masculine stuff, hoping that this feelings would go away, and it never did. I just sunk even more and more into depression, into anger, into rage, and all that stuff, into violence as an outlet for my uh, depression I had. You know, and depression was caused by gender dysphoria. The depression manifested into anger, into violence toward other people, anger toward other people, hatred for other people, and hatred for myself. And just overall, like, that's the way I lived for 20 years, with hatred in my heart, and like just self-hatred. The reason I didn't become a Marine, and this is a real reason I didn't want to become a Marine, because there was a policy that was in place by politicians. It doesn't matter who they are, what party they were. The fact that they signed this like law, they basically like signed a law called the Don't Ask, Don't Tell policy, which I I really didn't agree with the policy, even though I grew up in a conservative household and was a conservative to a point. And yeah, I just didn't agree with the Don't Ask, Don't Tell policy, and it just didn't make any sense to me that there was a policy that would exclude people, from our military. And I was afraid that I would be found out, and like, because I was starting to have problems with my sexual orientation too. My sexual orientation, I just never really identified in liking girls. Really, I didn't like that. I preferred guys, and have always had. I'm pansexual, so, and that was just like who I was and what I was. I was always like this, and these feelings never went away. And the fact that they never went away is, it's it never has gone away, and it never will, because I was born this way, and it was hard for me growing up, trying to be something I'm not, pretending to be someone I'm not, and I was like really super masculine. I tried, and didn't go away for 20 years. I was trying, and I finally had to come out of my 30s. I came out about my sexual orientation at age 30. And age 32, I came out as being transgender. And I told my family I wanted to be a girl. And it took me 2 years to find a clinic I was happy with. And I found one, but, I started transitioning about a year and a half ago, which was in April of 2019. And I've been happy ever since. I feel much better, much more relieved, no more depression and much more happier with life and people around me. I talk with people. There's no more depression anymore. There's I stay happy every single day. I do have some I do cry, but those are women's emotions. Those are my emotions, and I've had a lot of baggage, growing up, being bullied and and some other things that just went on, other things that were private that went on in my life, and I don't want to really get into that because those are my things, and those are things I have to carry with me at all times, and I just wanted to be a Marine so badly. I thought that would actually fix things, and for me, it was something that I wanted to be. I wanted to be a soldier fighting for my country, fighting for honor, and there was a don't ask, don't tell policy, which made me afraid to join. But after talking to a bunch of soldiers, a lot of the soldiers back when the don't ask, don't tell policy was in place, they knew some of their soldiers, some of their comrades were gay or transgender. They knew and didn't do nothing about it. So I was like, with that information, I didn't even know, because in my state we don't have any of this information. I live in the state of Texas. We didn't have access 20 years ago to this information, or we didn't get any access to this until Barack Obama took office. Or at least I didn't get any information until after Barack Obama took office in his second term, when he made same-sex marriage legal. And that's when I decided to come out, because I felt more comfortable. I felt after 2 years after same-sex marriage was signed into office, went to law, I came out because I felt comfortable. I felt society had moved to the point where I can actually be myself, and not be ridiculed for it. And yes, there's still some places in this world that need to be fixed, that need to accept people for who they are. We have a population of almost 8 billion. 8 billion. This is a big number, 8 billion people. And, there's not a whole lot of people that are LGBTQ, So why are some people worried about others being LGBTQ? Well, the majority of the population isn't. So I don't know what the fuss is about. Us being ourselves. We're not affecting you. We're not. What is that hurting anybody? We're just trying to live our lives and be ourselves. And I wanted to be a soldier, and I couldn't do it because there was a policy in place. And there still is a policy in place. I'm a transgender woman, and I can't join the military, or people like me. I have a friend who wants to be in the Air National Guard or Air Reserve, and she can't join, even though she's had SRS and all that. She can't join because of the current policy. She's a pilot. She wants to join. She's a very good pilot, from what I heard. Her teacher says she's a very good pilot. She went to go work for another airline or another company because of what's happened. Her airline went out of business, so now she's going to be working for another company, and she can't join because she's trans. And the policy is that if you're on hormones, or if you have SRS surgery or gender confirmation surgery, you can't join. That's because our military, basically what the current administration has done is basically green-lighted discrimination, and that's not acceptable. in a free and open society, and we shouldn't allow that to go. Because there are a lot of people who want to be soldiers, a lot of people who want to be, who basically want to live their lives. There are a lot of us that want to be soldiers. The thing is, it's like, if you're being excluded from being a soldier or in anything, what is the point in actually? What is the point where you actually care about your country then? Do you really care about your country at that point? You have no stake in defense of the country. So what stake do you really have in actually making sure the country survives? What stake do you have in your country's survival at that point? You have none, no incentive. You're excluded, and that's the way I felt, like excluded. And there were policies that made us afraid to be who we are. Some of those policies are no longer in place. We need to continue that trend of not excluding people anymore. People have religious beliefs. That doesn't mean that they have to interfere with other people's livelihoods and other people's ability to function. All you're doing is creating homelessness, which is creating welfare, which is increasing taxation and putting a heavy burden on the system. And you're contributing by discriminating. You want people off of welfare. How are you supposed to get people off of welfare if you put them on the welfare system because you give them no choice? There are companies out there that I do not want to name who actually openly discriminate and allow open discrimination, under religious pretext. And that shouldn't be allowed in any culture. And for people to be continuing to do that is weakening their culture, weakening their countries, weakening their nations, and weakening humanity as a whole. And I don't believe in weakening everybody as a whole. I love my country, and I love the red, white, and blue. And I can't defend it the way I want to. I can make stuff for our soldiers, but I cannot become a soldier myself, or people like me cannot become soldiers ourselves. So these policies need to be reversed, and hopefully under the next administration they will be reversed, and we're able to actually rejoin our military. Because I spoke to people in the military, and a lot of them actually they don't have any problems serving with trans people. All they want to know is that somebody has their back. That's all they want to know. Is there somebody watching them? Is there somebody good enough to watch them? And I say a lot of the trans community are good enough to watch your back. We want to serve. We are ultimate patriots. A lot of people in the trans community are the ultimate patriots. Because we look at it this way: the United States, if it goes, we go, and that's not acceptable. We need hormones to survive. To be ourselves, or we slip back into depression. A lot of us commit suicide because of that. And we don't want that to happen. So we need more people in the military that are capable. So what would be the point in not allowing a group of people to join when you want 100% of your adult population to fight a war, or to fight for their country, or build or monitor equipment? There's a lot of the trans community that are good at monitoring nuclear weapons, or monitoring nuclear reactors on aircraft carriers or subs. There's a lot of us out there. We could drive trucks, we could pick up a rifle and fight. There's a lot of us out there. We're good enough to continue keeping the country safe. And for us not to be able to keep our country safe, what point is the country then? You know, what point do we actually want to defend this country? And what stake do I have? That's the questions we need to ask. And it's not unpatriotic to ask that question. You know, it's not unpatriotic. And it's not treason to ask that question. We want to defend our country. That's what we want to do. And I'm just going to leave it at that. And I will be up here next time. Like, I'm going to start trying to release videos every Mondays and Thursdays. So I will keep you up to date on what's happening in my life and like some stuff like in my life, you know, I've discussed. And if you have any questions, just leave me some comments and subscribe, please. Thank you. And I will see you next time. Bye.